26 minutes after 10 o'clock, it's Friday the 19th of June. In the studio today, we've got Dave Diggle from Blacktower Financial Management. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Dave. Morning, listeners.
And you're going to be here. You are here. You're here to talk about all things financial, living here in Spain as an expat, and how we can do things differently and so on. So what's the quickest way for me to make some money?
I can't believe you've just asked me that question. Nothing like making it easy to begin with, is it? Right. Quickest way to make or save money? Well, I'll tell you. Probably the quickest way to make or save money is not what Blacktower do. So it's what other companies do, but we will guide you in the right direction. And that would probably be the quickest way, you've asked me the quickest way, would probably be to use a currency company in converting your money that's being sent over from the UK. So just expand on that because you've caught me on the hop there. Okay, so imagine you were sending, and I know this for a fact because I do this myself. So imagine you got £1,000 you're sending over from the UK from your bank account every month. Let's just say, for example, the rate's 1.38. The bank won't give you 1.38. The bank will give you about 1.35. Okay, so if you transfer £1,000 at 1.38, that's €1,380. 1.35 will be €1,350. There's a difference there of €30. If you use a currency company, they'll probably give you 1.375. Right, so that's much closer to the original mid-spot rate.
Sorry, just quickly to say, if you're then transferring money over for a house or something like a large purchase like that, the difference is huge.
Oh, it's huge. But I mean, just on £1,000, you're talking about just on £1,000 a month. You're talking about you'll probably save yourself just over €20 a month. You multiply that by 12 months, that's 240 plus. But you're quite right what you said. If you're doing a large purchase, yeah, absolutely, you'll save thousands. So if your listeners want to get in touch with me, so I use two currency companies as it turns out, and get in touch with us and I'll point you in the right direction. But that's not something that we do, but that's part of financial advice that we give, as it turns out. So when we go around and meet people, we're doing a synopsis of their entire situation, and that's what we do.
Okay, nice one. So go on a bit more then. What does Blacktower do? Tell us what you really do. If you keep sending people off to make money elsewhere, then what do you do?
Well, first of all, I've got to just say I've got to apologise for getting involved in numbers. I'm an accountant by trade and a qualified financial advisor, so numbers don't faze me, and I quite enjoy them. But people tend to glaze over. What do Blacktower do? What we do, we're wealth managers. So what will happen is we're trying to increase or preserve your wealth. Now, when I say wealth, that word seems to scare people off. We're not talking about super wealthy people, but there are minimum investments involved, for example. So the minimum investment we can take is £20,000, which is not that high, or €25,000. So just because you're using the word wealth, it doesn't mean it runs into hundreds of thousands. Most of our customers run at maybe the 40 to 50,000 range, but quite often they're at 20 grand as well. Occasionally, we're lucky enough to come across a client with maybe 250 or 500 grand, but it happens only very, very occasionally. Most of us live here, which is ordinary people seeking a happy, cheap life in the sun, aren't we? At the end of the day.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Right, we're going to play a bit of music, and in the meantime, I'm going to ask Dave about these people who have got 500 grand floating around. I could be their friend. Right, a bit of music, and then we'll have a bit more chat with Dave. We're going to find out a bit more about him too. Hello, Issa. So go on in, Dave. Tell me, how do we go about getting in touch with you guys, and what do we do? I mean, do we just take all our money out of the bank and give it to you, or what?
Yes. Well, give us a ring. You can ring the head office in Javier. Obviously, we're on the Costa Blanca, so our office is in Javier, but we have offices all around Europe, actually. Head offices in Feltham in Surrey, UK. Been there for 29 years, as it turns out. So, call us at the office or call me direct on 615-607-278. I mean, you can phone the office, but they'll refer you to me anyway on the south at Costa Blanca. But you're asking, how do we go about it? What would happen is we come around and see you. This is all totally free, by the way. We come around and see you. We evaluate not your psychological profile, but your risk profile, appetite for risk, that sort of thing. That sounds scary already. We do an entire fact find of you and your family because we need to know what your objectives are. Are you intending to go back to the UK? I have to say I'm talking about the UK because overwhelmingly 99% of our customers are expats, you British expats. Do you have children? Do you want to bequeath your assets to your children one day? Are they UK resident? All these things are very important for us to put a package together for what you need. All sounds a bit scary, It doesn't need to be scary, because we do it all for you. And then if we've got a recommendation to give you, and that's if we've got a recommendation, then we'll give you a formal written recommendation that normally consists of letters, sort of anything from 10 to 15 pages long, giving the nuts and bolts of everything we've recommended and all the product information. And it's very simple. It will take about an hour and a half for us to get all the information together and then go away and then put it all together for you. And then we'll come back with a recommendation. But, most of it, most of the customers are focused on the return. But as financial advisors, that's ultimately, we need to get a return, but to fit your risk profile. So we can get you any return you want, is the truth. I could get your money doubled within 5 years, that type of thing. But have you got the risk appetite for it? And the answer is mostly, people haven't, because they can't take the downsides. And that's what we've got to defend against, you see? So, but it's just the way it's packaged. So the way we package these things is what will happen when you die. If you're in a couple and you've got wife and husband, and one of you is going to die first normally. So does it transfer to the other one easily without any interruption or tax triggers? All these type of things are the things that we take care of within the package that we put together for you. And these are things that people don't think about because they just tend to focus about return. So there's much more to it than that, but that's what we do, and put all the recommendations for free.
Okay, and you do it all for free?
It's all done for free. You could ask, well, presumably you could ask me how we get paid. Yeah, we live on air. We live on air, right? You live on air, but we don't live on air. What happens is, so if we put some products together, normally those products will actually pay us a commission. Now, but we're not choosing products by commission. I just want to get that absolutely straight. We choose products based on your objectives and what will fit your family circumstances. Occasionally, if we put something together, so basically you get the advice for free, but it's only if you implement, or we've got to implement that product, then that's when there's a charge. Occasionally, if we're to do work over and above, then we'll make a charge for that, and ad hoc, but it's very rarely that we do that, as it turns out. But in the UK, just to get this clear, in the UK now, for the last 2 years, the rules are with financial wealth management firms, they've got to raise a fee to begin with, and that's quite scary for people. So at least if we recommend a product, for example, that product might pay us over a 5-year period every quarter or something like that. But you don't need to worry about that, because we will choose something that, if you wanted to invest, for example, £20,000, your entire £20,000 would be invested. It wouldn't be sort of 19,500 with a bit taken off for us. It's not like that. So therefore, your recommendations you get for free. It's your choice whether to go ahead. But if I'm offering you something, you've got money sitting in the bank doing bugger all, and I'm giving you advice on something that's a lot better and safer for your profile, why wouldn't you take that recommendation? Occasionally, people don't. It is true. But most people go ahead with what we say, and most people are very happy. It's got to be said.
So yeah, that all sounds good. So if I had 10 grand sitting around or 20 grand sitting around, how quick can I get some return back on that then? Is that pretty quick, or have I got to wait till I'm 90 or something?
You're trying to make my life awkward. How quick can you get around? Well, it depends. For example, do you want your money to grow? So let's call it 20,000, because if you've got 10 grand, I can't do anything for you, unfortunately. But if you've got 20,000, do you want an income out of it, or you just want it to grow? So the answer is, if you want an income out of it, if you want it to grow, then you're not going to get anything out of it. It's going to grow, effectively. But if you want an income out of it monthly, the truth of the matter is you can get an income monthly or quarterly, whatever you want, and start taking your return immediately. So hopefully that's quite a short answer there. But yes, immediately, that's what can happen. You start getting the benefits of your returns.
Great stuff. 2 options there. All right, well, we're going to go and play some music, then chat to Dave a little bit more, and maybe a bit more about his personal life. Find out about the real Dave Diggle, you know what I mean? We were just discussing Dave's request for tomorrow's Saturday Love Song show. You can hear that tomorrow, 10 o'clock till 1. Saturday. Right, Mandy Tams has asked a question, Dave. She says, what if the money is lost?
Mandy, your money won't be lost, because unless you're a complete maverick, then we won't be recommending that you put into anything that's sort of highly risky, where you could lose your money. So that's not going to happen with us, and that's guaranteed. We put it in daily trading stocks that are safe and there's no issue. But to answer your question, I think what you're trying to get at is about regulation, probably, that she's asking about. You have a Financial Services Compensation Committee back in the UK, and if you're given some bad advice in the UK, then you can normally seek some compensation, because we've got to document everything that we do, and we're not going to give you bad advice. That's a fact of matter. We're not going to let you lose money. But the truth of the matter is this: whilst we're all regulated by the UK and we're regulated by the Gibraltar Services Financial Services Commission as well, the truth of the matter is there's no comeback. So if we were to recommend something bad that you lost the money, you've actually got no comeback because your advice was given in Spain. Now, the difficulty here is, why don't you go to a UK firm then and get advice from a UK firm? But a UK firm is also not allowed to give advice here in Spain. All right? So that's the problem. So what the real cutting to the quick here, you fall down the gap as an expat in Spain and you won't be covered if the money's lost. So make sure you seek out a professional firm. And hey-ho, Blacktower, 29 years, here we are.
Yeah, I think a lot of expats have been bitten over the years, not just by financial management, by the dodgy plumber, the dodgy mechanic, and the dodgy builder. But we'll vouch for Dave Diggle, of course, and Blacktower FM, as we always do with guests on our show. Mandy seems to be pretty happy with that answer. So let's find out a bit about Dave then. I understand you play the drums.
Have we finished talking about Blacktower Finance before I get talking about drums?
Have you got something else to say then?
Do you want to know about what we can make here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How much can you make me? Go on.
What a nightmare this is. If you're a cautious customer, most of our customers are cautious. Mostly they're pensioners. They don't want to lose their money. They don't want too much risk. In fact, in line with Mandy's question there. So our most popular, I'll say our most popular product, to be honest with you, is with Prudential, for example. Prudential give me 135 years. Cautious investor. They net around about 5% return. And what will happen, because our charges are paid over a 5-year period, after a 5-year period, when the establishment costs have been paid back in full to Prudential and part of that goes to Blacktower, after that, the customers are making an extra percent more than the people would these days. So in 5 years' time, you'll be making an extra percent or so. So actually, the answer is around about 5% return, much better than the banks. Very safe with the Prudential, and if you really want with the Prudential, they wouldn't recommend it, but you can have, for example, you can pay an extra 0.65% fee per annum out of your interest or your return to guarantee that you won't get less than you put back in. But the Pru give us a forecast every quarter about what they're going to do for the year, and they give us their forecasts are sort of around about netting 5% return. So it's quite a stable product. There's no need to buy the guarantee, because they tell us what they're going to do anyway. They know which investments the Pru are holding themselves, so they know what return they're going to get. So that's basically probably our most popular product, is the truth, because most people are very cautious. There you go.
Yeah, I think most people are, especially as you mature with years, you become a bit more careful with things, obviously. So right now, music. You're a drummer and a biker, and you like a bit of music. So tell us what you do and who you play for and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I'm a drummer, and I was taught. I've been playing for about 30 odd years, and I was taught by a guy called Tommy Cunliffe, who taught Carl Palmer from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So I'm still passionate about the music, which is actually the reason why we live in this area. We bought a house here in 2001 and moved here in 2006. But I'm a huge jazz fusion fan, and San Javier Jazz Festival and Alicante Jazz Festival have monster, mostly American players coming through. And I go and watch these guys on, for €20. Whereas I used to fly to Ronnie Scott's. I used to live in Jersey because I was brought up in Jersey. I used to fly to Ronnie Scott's in London. You do £400 in a weekend, and you bought a ticket for 40, 45 quid. I'm watching the same guys here on the same tours, effectively, for €20. So, and to that end, my favourite drummer, actually, a guy called Dave Diggle. I've met him 4 times. I've seen him about 21 times, and I had the pleasure of having a lesson with him in London 2 years ago. 20 of us in a class. He's probably the best player in the world. You could argue who's number one, 2 or 3, but he's here on the 3rd of July at San Javier Jazz Festival. And if you're into, and his band is just incredible. Incredible bass player, incredible keyboard player, and incredible guitarist. But he will blow your socks off. Really blow your socks off with lots of groove, feel, and technique. He's fantastic. 3rd of July, €20. Do I sound like I'm running the jazz festival or something?
No, the San Javier, I've been several times. San Javier Jazz Festival is amazing. It really is. Since, like you say, some huge acts down there, and like you say, 20 quid, it's got to be done. We'll play a bit of music, and then we'll come back and ask you a few more questions, because you're not getting away yet. We're working our way up towards 11 o'clock. Rupert's in Studio 1 getting ready. We've got loads of time. There you go, Womack and Womack. Okay, we had another comment in from Mandy Sampson. I'm going to pass it straight over to Dave. I can't handle it.
Mandy is Facebooked in, messaged in to say, because I was talking before about cautious investments for pensioners, and she says, I'm not a pensioner, lol. Right? Mandy, I've no idea, but what would happen when we come around and do a profile on you and a fact find? And those fact finds, by the way, are that we ask impertinent questions. There's no doubt about that. How much money have you got in which banks? And we list them out. Are they in joint names, single names, etc.? We cannot give you decent advice unless we know everything about your situation and your objectives. So, Mandy, obviously, one of the questions will be how old are you? I don't know how old you are, Mandy. You haven't put that down. But that would be part of the reason that we plan whatever we were going to recommend for you. We'd have to plan with the fact that, I don't know, supposing you're 40 and you've got to make that money last until you're 60 or 70 because you're going to get an inheritance or something like that. And these are the sort of things that we've got to plan for depending on what we recommend. So I can't give you a straight answer. We would take all of these things into consideration before making a recommendation. It's as simple as that. And that's how it's done.
Okay, well, just to finish up then, give us an update on the dates for the San Javier Jazz Festival, if you would, and whoever's on. And then you can introduce the last song, which is, I think, quite relevant to what you've had to say as well. Right, let me pass you back.
Well, I think the dates of the... I say I'm not here to promote the Jazz Festival, but it does kick off on the 3rd of July. And I said to you, my favourite drummer, a guy called Dave Weckl. It's a pity you're not playing a tune with Dave Weckl playing drums, actually. Yeah, I'll put you on the spot there. You put me on the spot enough this morning. Yeah, vice versa here. So as it turns out, I'm going to meet some friends in London, and I had to change my flights because I'm going to meet them because I'm going to watch AC/DC at Wembley on the Saturday, which AC/DC is turning into a bit of a tribute band. I don't know if you know that. Well, the rhythm guitarist has had a stroke, and the drummer was on not a murder charge, but a plot to assassinate charge. So he's not there. So only half the band, i.e. 2/4 of the band, are being replaced. So it's almost like we're going to watch a tribute band, isn't it? You know, for 74 quid a ticket. But there you go. Yeah, so the San Javier Jazz Festival is 3rd of July. It kicks off, and I think it finishes something like in the last week of July. It's about, depending on the app, it's normally 15 to 20 euros. And for that 20 euros, by the way, there's two major acts. So I'll get probably 3 to 3.5 hours worth of music from top-notch players. They really are top-notch. But what I really like about San Javier Jazz, and I sit there every year in my seat, it's like an amphitheatre, pinch myself at what I'm listening to, because everything is mic'd up beautifully. And I don't know, but San Javier Jazz, they film it and they broadcast it across Spain around about September on the television. So you get to watch all these things twice, effectively. It's that, and there's a place called Gexta at the major festivals in Spain. So it really is top-notch, and it's on our doorstep, and most people don't get to hear about it. But, you know, at the end of the day, Spain's like that. Great restaurants, whatever. They don't advertise, do they? You know, just a little anonymous door on a street, and behind it is, you know, is some fantastic things. So, yeah, and, of course, you've also got the Alicante Jazz Festival as well, which they've moved venue. And the sound in there is in the auditorium. The sound in there is not quite as good as the San Javier Jazz Festival. So, yeah, there you go. That's my passion anyway.
Right, well, to play us out then, you're going to introduce the last song for us, I believe, and I'm going to say my goodbyes at the end of the song. But thanks very much to Dave Diggle for coming in. He'll be back in again within a month. We'll give you the dates and everything. And any info you've got, any questions you've got, you can still send them to me at Facebook. I can pass them on to Dave, and he can answer them for you either personally or when he comes in next time. Okay, Dave, away you go.
Okay, thanks for having me, Dave, and thanks to you listeners for listening, if they still are. Next song is AC/DC. Who doesn't like AC/DC? AC/DC, Highway to Hell.